Hello, it's me, Lindsay, and this is my lovely YouTube channel, Lindsay Said So. Thank you for being here. This is episode 3, and it's Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, March 14th, 2024. I'm currently off work on March break, which is a week-long holiday that we have in Canada for school. So my children and I are home, and we are relaxing and being productive and just enjoying some time. Oddly, right now we have no snow, which in Ontario right now is weird. We've had a very mild winter, and we have had just strange weather. So sort of begrudge having snow tires right now because I'm not using them. But if I remove my snow tires, then I will probably need them, and that's not safe. So we're rolling with it. Anyway, today I'm going to give you an update on things that I have stitched on since January and talk a little bit about some finishes that I've had. All right, my current progress. So these are projects that I've worked on of my now 30 different WIPs or works in progress that I have done some sort of stitching on since last time. Anyway, I appreciate you spending some time with me. I've been stitching on a piece called When Witches Go Riding by Tiny Modernist. It was a stitch along from 2021. There was a big mistake that caused hundreds of stitches to be ripped out, which is why I put the piece away, because I was just really mad at it and I didn't want to work on it anymore. But it's my oldest piece and I want to get rid of it. Not get rid of it, I want to finish it. So I'm going to show you that. And I've actually made some progress both ripping and stitching. Frustrating, that's okay. I am part of the Heaven and Earth Designs 2024 Stitch Along, or the Haid Stitch Along, and I'm doing the Merry Mushroom Village Picnic 2. I've done a lot of stitching. I've made it across page 1, and I'm nearing the bottom of page 1, which is really exciting because it's a full coverage piece. You'll see. It's a lot. And I was working on Black Cat Hollow by Barbara Anna. It also had been a stitch along. I found it when it was done. And I had started working on it on linen. You're going to figure out pretty soon, I don't like linen. I know a lot of people love it, and they do beautiful things on it. I can't stand it. I can't stand it. And instead of forcing myself to work through this piece with linen, I have decided to just not. And I have restarted it. And I had a piece in my stash. And it's exciting because it's a piece of fabric that I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with. But now I have a purpose for it, and I'm excited to stitch on it. And there you go. Right? So I like to work chronologically, and I'm not going to show you all of my pieces because I haven't worked on all of them, but I'm just going to show you the ones that I have worked on, and we will start with the oldest and work to newest, and that starts in 2021. So When Witches Go Riding, I'm now total, like all 4 parts, I'm at 64.6%, which is exciting. That's my January and November progress from last year. So this is like a year and a bit since the picture on the middle. And that's the bit that I had to pick out come January, because I realized at some point I had gone, like, I messed up somewhere. I couldn't even tell you where. I think right at the top, and then it just sort of trickled down plus more mistakes. But it sort of started leaning in, and when I tried to stitch a little motif in there, there wasn't going to be room, and that was a problem. So if you can see right in here, this little piece is not supposed to be that far in. And I think I actually got to the bottom of that little squiggle. And now looking at it, I think the other side is wrong too. So I've stopped stitching that gray on the right. I picked out the left, and now I'm here. So I've got a little bit that needs to be picked out still. This is all correctly stitched, and then I was able to get all of this business done, which is good. I'm going to stitch. So when witches go riding and black cats are seen, the moon laughs and whispers, 'tis near Halloween. So this is whispers, and I'm going to do a little bit of back stitch shadow business around it to help, because it shows up better in person. But yeah, so I have a bit more to deal with. But see how far it came over, and it would have really chopped into where the ghost was. I thought, well, maybe I can manipulate the ghost a little bit, and it just wasn't going to be, it wasn't a thing. No, it was not good. It was not a good thing. So there you go. So my fourth project, fourth oldest, is the small beaded toadstool tile from Chatelaine. And I find Chatelaine so lovely, and this is a small one. I don't know how people do big ones. Anyway, it's lovely. It's just a lot of work, and it's a lot of repetition, which you figure out, but then once you're doing it, you're like, that's a lot of repetition. So anyway, last time I had completed this top bit, and I had right across there had done, and I had started to work on the beading, and that is where I finished. So 3 wee toadstools are beaded, and I've started to bring down the left hand side a little bit on the border, because after you've beaded a bunch of toadstools, you need a break, because it's a lot, which is fine. It's just, it's a lot, like a lot. Next I have Maple Lane, and I've been taking this piece with me to my choir practice. I'm in a queer choir, we're lovely, and there are times when, during our practice once a week we have a wee break, so I've been taking this with me because I'm using a paper pattern as opposed to a digital chart. I'm not using Pattern Keeper, I'm not using Markup RXP for this, it's just me and paper and a highlighter. And I'm really, really pleased because I got the entire bottom section finished, which is all of this. It's all done, and I've started back up into this area. So I have 2 chunks left, and then it's done. Snail House Forget-Me-Nots. Again, just some good progress, filling in the snail body, the forget-me-nots above the castle itself. And I have to decide if I really want to fill in this bit down here. Part of me thinks no, because it's sort of complete without it. And also, I got the floss and the pattern, I purchased it from someone else, and it had partial floss, not the whole kit, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough blue, which is an important part of the whole thing. So I don't know. I have to kind of wait and see after I finish the forget-me-nots up at the top. I might, I don't know. And then that takes us to 2022 pieces that I've worked on since January. And a finish. I finally finished the November block of the Carolyn Manning Stitch Along, the Tent Maker Stitch Along, which was really fun and exciting. They're also really small, full coverage pieces, which take a lot more stitching than you would anticipate because it's very dense, but they're really fun. And I like looking at the pictures. I've done a lot since January, partly because it's an older piece and I just want to get some progress. You know, like you kind of get tired of those same colors over and over and over again. And I wanted to move on to something else. There you go. September, October, November, and then I have just started December. I'm just stitching around the outside. This block, I don't know. I don't love the colors. And I don't know if it's because that's a mock-up and not actually a stitched design. If you know how mock-ups always look a little bit different from your stitched piece. But I'm just not really feeling all of that. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to see when I start stitching that piece if the colors really work for me, or if I'm going to make some slight adjustments, which I try not to do too much with stuff like this, but sometimes it's just not for me, and that's okay. So it was a finish and then immediately a start, because then I've started December. I've also had a little bit of progress on Owl Forest's patchwork calendar, almost halfway, which is really fun. That's where I am. I finished. This starts with December, January, February, March. So I'm done April, May, and now I'm done June. And I've worked more on the border for July. You might remember I was quite upset that I had lost a piece. I had put this Wonky Cat by Marumi Designs somewhere in a cute pouch. The pouch went, I don't know where. And in moving like 2 years ago, it just was gone. And yes, it's a small piece, but it was really cute and I liked it. And I really liked, I was using fancy purple floss and it was a scrap of fabric, but still, I was upset that I could not find this stupid thing. And I really wanted to find it and work on it. And then I did, and then I finished it. Ta-da! Look at that! Oh, I love him. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I think just the point is that I'm done, and I'm really happy. Whatever. It's done. It's done. Yahoo. So that was a February finish. Now for some whips from 2023. All right, so Black Cat Hollow, Barbara Anna Designs. I love Barbara Anna Designs. I had started this on a lovely piece of fabric. Fox and Rabbit. I felt very fancy getting Fox and Rabbit. Lyrebird Dell. But it was linen. I don't like linen. I really don't like linen. And I tried. And I just, it's all like wiggly. It's just not me. It's just, no, hard stop. So I was sad because this had been a birthday start from last year and I had done like that much, made a mistake and fixed it. I seem to make a lot of mistakes. And then tried to work on it and I didn't want to, which I found really disappointing because I really like Barbara Anna Designs and I really liked this piece, hence the birthday start. So instead of just letting it sit and languish and not do anything, I decided I needed to make a change. So this piece of fabric is from the sewing shop. So if you follow Kaylee's Tent Stitch, this is her shop. I got to meet them at Stitch North last year, and I believe I will see them again this year. I am going to Stitch North weekend 1. If you're there, please say hi. How cool would that be to see people that like have seen me on YouTube that I don't live with? Because I know my kids watch, or like they say they'll watch. Anyway, look at this fabric. I just can't. I cannot. So I was kind of fussy picking with where the piece was going to go. So that's the top bit. I wanted it down there because that part looked more like a bottom. And I started in the bottom left corner because, well, not only because I liked that bottom bit, but I really liked how I loved the idea that I could use the rest of the piece for something else. If you haven't purchased anything from Kaylee, they do beautiful things, and I recommend them for sure, for sure. And next, I finished something else. I have 3 finishes. This is number 2. I had started this at Stitch North last year. Oh, so it's even less than a year. Look at me. This is intended for me. We will see if my youngest will be taking it because we share first initials, and I feel like they've already kind of laid claim to it. Whatever. They're excited about it. I'm excited about it too. Much appreciation to my friend who helped me at Stitch North pick out some different floss, because the purples, the picture fairly accurate from the design. The purples show more, you know, how sometimes purples can be brown purple, not quite puce, but brown. That's how they were, and I wasn't not dealing with it. I wasn't loving it, and I wanted to have something more purpley. So I finished. Yay! I'm really happy with it. I think it's really cute. And, because why not get them all done at once? Another finish. So speaking of Stitch North, weekend 1, I have finished the stitching portion of the piece that I'm putting into the swap. Yeah, that's what that's called, the swap. So welcome from Hands On Design, and I used Mozzie Day Lugana from Bryn and Needle. So I've got some metallic for the whale, the water bits, and then this water bit coming across. I used some overdyed and some DMC, just wherever. So I went through some fabrics I have to try to find, you know, what do I want to put with it, because I want to make it into a thing, right? And I was all excited, got my sewing machine all set up. I was gonna make, I don't know what. So if you know what I should make out of this tiny wee thing, here's my small hand, and then this, let me know, with the caveat that I can't find my cords for my sewing machine, either of them. I can't. I don't know where they are. We moved 2 years ago, coming up this summer, and they were put in a box for safekeeping, and now I don't know which box that is. And I've looked through what I thought have been all of my crafting boxes, and apparently I am not looking in the right box because I have not found them at all. And if you have an idea of what I could make, please let me know. I also found that I have a self-stick board, mounting board, that I could use for I don't know what, and it's a fairly large piece, 8 by 10, so I could do something, like I've got enough to do, what are those, flat folds? I never made one. I could make one. I did find some instructions, so it's an option. So yeah, 3 finishes though. They are small, but accomplishments. It is. I'm much happier with it, and I'm much more excited to stitch on it, being that I've stitched on it a fair bit already. And I'm wondering how people do it, where they stitch just one page at a time. I'm trying to, but as I worked across, I got to sort of the eagle wing over here, and I didn't want it to just chop off and like leave this little bit here and not do it, but I also want to just finish a page, because like a page finish is an accomplishment. I want to say there's 12 or 16 pages in this. It's not the tiniest piece by any means. So yeah, how do you do that? How do you like just stop? I also don't want lines though. I don't know how people don't get lines. Over halfway. Halloween moth. I think it's called the 09 moth because it was from 2009. I don't know. It's cute anyway. Stitching Spell has lots of really nice stuff. They have a piece called Forest One. Lovely. Again, I tried stitching it on linen and I hated it, so I have to restart that. But again, I'm looking for the perfect fabric. It's very colorful. So if you have ideas. I have finished this entire wing. It is solid stitching. And then I've got this abdomen bit. The head and thorax are done, and the antenna are done. I just have this wing and this little bit left down here. So that's good. Another tiny piece that I have worked on a little bit is Halloween 2021 Puntini Puntini. It again is a nice little purse piece size. It's on, I'm marking it off on paper. And I gotta say, doing my little, it's a version of their spider. Mine ended up a wee bit bigger, a lot bit bigger, but I like it. And you can see here, I've done half stitches up and then a full cross. There's 10, there's 10, there's 10, and then across 10. And I'm guessing this is 10. And it helps with counting. So I don't know how y'all do it, but I am constantly comparing and double checking to make sure that I'm not making a mistake with how big or small something is, or how far over, say, does the cattail go. I want to make sure I'm accurate, especially because, as you have seen, I make mistakes sometimes. So to stitch Rainbow Fruits, you may recall from last time, instead of doing a long vertical, I'm doing a long horizontal, and she'll make it into a pillow for my youngest. We all love cats, but they really love cats. And you might notice there's been some pulling out here, some frogging. Because I had stitched with one white and then grabbed another white that I thought was the same white. And as I'm going down the face, I'm getting closer to where the eyes are, and I ask my child, do you think this looks weird? And he said, yeah, there's like a stripe across this cat's forehead of a completely different white. And because it was a big block, it was definitely a completely different white. So I had to unpick it. Fortunately, it was a block, and I didn't have to finagle anything else. But it was frustrating because I made progress and then I had to rip it out. And it wasn't just the forehead. You can see in the picture it was across and then down and around. And you can even kind of see like there's a line here. It was just bad. But it's fixed. I have a color now that I'm sticking with. And I put like a whole skein in that bag to live with it, because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, well, all the cats have white in them, but 4 are like majority white, and I need to be careful. Merry Mushroom Village Picnic 2. So of the 3 pages I have, 30.7%, meaning I am nearly finished page 1. I have been working fairly diligently. I'm trying to stick to the single page, although if there's a couple little stitches over on the edge, I will do them. I can't do that at the bottom because I don't have this page, so I can't. And I'm hoping I don't get a line, but I feel like there are enough people who do full coverage where they do page by page quite religiously and they don't get lines, so I'm sure I'm fine. I have been alternating between doing large swaths of color up and down here in the tree and filling on all these little tiny wee bits, and then doing like working from the bottom up and trying to get rid of all the smallest colors going through. So you can see I've started, this is the little mushroom here. There's that leaf right there. And I think it looks really neat. Like looking at it from back here, from me to my computer monitor and all that, it looks like it should look. So I'm pleased with that. 2024 whips. So I've had very few starts since the first of the year. I have had Little Red Riding Hood, Prairie Schooler, Quirky Quaker, Seahorse, Darling and Whimsy, and the December Tent Maker Stitch Along, Carolyn Manning, which we talked about the December Tent Maker, which was number 11. And Little Red Riding Hood I have not worked on since my last episode. So I'm going to show you this one, which is my most recent start, and I'm using a piece from this Mozzie Day 28 count Lugana Brennan needle. They are dyers from the east coast of Canada, and I'm doing the Quirky Quaker Seahorse, which I believe Darling and Whimsy is also from the east coast. 90% sure. I decided to use Cherry Cobbler from Classic Color Works because it felt right, and it's also what I use down here. And I thought, well, not only is it awesome to stitch a tiny seahorse, because underwater animals are the best, other than cats, I thought it would be fun to have that as like an additional something for my little giveaway, not giveaway, the swap for the Stitch North. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And because I'm bonkers, I'm doing it over 1. And it's small. Like it's tiny, but I think it will be good. I think it will be really fun because I love it already. And man, thread goes so far on over 1, so far. So that tiny piece, that little itty bitty bit, is only is 7%. It's small. That's it. That's that whole thing. That's that whole thing. Tiny. There's my nail for reference. It's small, but maybe it'll be like a key fob. Not a key fob, a scissor fob. I don't know. And if I just adore it, I have another wee piece from this, and I might be able to stitch another one for myself. Plans. So, lofty goal of the Hate Stitch Along to finish 4 pages by the end of the year. And that little slide's going to stay there with that goal for the rest of the year until I either finish it or the year ends and I'm like, rats. Because that's okay. Goals are good, but if you're hurting yourself to get to them, is it a good goal? No. Other goals. I had some pieces that I decided to work towards finishing because they were small and they were old, and I just wanted progress. So Halloween 08 Moth, I am, 60 something % done, and it's a good purse piece. I'm talking end of the year finishes, Welcome, I finished it. And Tent Maker November, which was like a maybe, I finished that. When Witches Go Writing, as my oldest whip, I am getting it done. And that's good, because I just would like it finished. Not that it's bad, it's just not, I'd like it done, you know? Like, cross that off my list. Get some accomplishments. I have a piece that I'd like to start. Okay, I have a lot of pieces that I'd like to start, like a lot, but this one in particular, I realized I hadn't really tracked it on my spreadsheet and in my folder the way I track my projects to be stitched and that I have stitched and that I am stitching. And I got this last year from Stitch North. I got to meet Dee of Dee's 20 Stitches, and I got their signature with the little lots of love, Dee. This is from Uncanny Kari and Dee's 20 Stitches, Sailor's Delight. And not only is it a beautiful piece, like, something about those colors is fabulous, but a really cool thing is that this little mer person is also trans, because they've had top surgery. And I love it. I love it. And so I love underwater things. But also this is, it's like traditional, but then not. So I thought that was great. And I have friends at work and friends through choir who are lovely humans who either are trans, not necessarily that they've had surgery, but maybe they're thinking about it or wanting it. Maybe they're friends with people who have. And I thought that would be a nice piece to do. Plus, I think it's really pretty. So, Mystic Fabrics Sweet Treat on 32 count even weave, not linen. So kind of a mint. And I pulled the floss, and then I realized I don't have all the floss. So then I used a different website to do a bit of a conversion, and I've got two slightly different alternatives to the colors that they want. You know, very dark royal blue, very dark melon, and dark bright turquoise. So the only one that's actually called for is this one. These two are ever so slightly different, like very slightly different. Very slightly different. And that's okay, because you can do that. I could even choose an overdyed if I wanted to. Probably won't. So, life update. I purchased a book. So, this is Gera, Gera, the designer from Japan, and this is their book. And these designs are so lovely and calm. Lots of their things are sort of seasonal and animals and nature. Look at that. And some little ducks. Oh. But it's lovely. Lots of flowers and animals and houses. So if you like stitching a nice house, they've got houses. Everything's laid out really nice. You can see all the pieces in the front of the book, so you know what you're looking for. Instructions are very clear. There is a flying squirrel piece. Like, who has ever done a flying squirrel? Oh, okay. They, I'm not sure their pronouns. They also have like an underwater piece. Lovely. So if you're looking for a lovely book, I recommend that. I have yet to stitch anything from it, but I'd like to. So, we're at the end. Now I have to do a bunch of editing, but that's okay, because you'll appreciate it more. then all of my like random pauses and forgetting the words I was using. Anyway, we're at the end. Thank you for the visit. I appreciate it. And thank you so much to the people who commented last time. It is lovely to see little comments from people, you know, giving me feedback, because I know what I like in Flosstube, but once you start making it, you just don't know if you're doing all the things that you should do. I also love seeing that people watching have similar interests as I do, where they enjoy some of the same designers or are currently stitching things that I'm stitching, which is neat, because I don't know about you, but because I'm not into like traditional Quakers and samplers, a lot of Flosstube I find is like that. And though they're lovely, they're just not for me. Much like linen. You notice the theme. Anyway. And I don't know. It's nice to know that I'm not the only one. So some questions. Did you see something that you liked that you now feel like you should stitch? Do you want to know more about my spreadsheet? It is a big spreadsheet, but it's lovely and it helps my brain so much, and it helps me not buy duplicates of things, because I know a lot of people unfortunately do end up buying a lot of duplicates. And I think that's it. It is odd and awkward to try to stop these or end them. That's all. Thank you so much for being here today with me. I appreciate it, and if you have any questions, let me know. And otherwise, I'll see you in an unknown amount of time, because I'm not going to promise when I'll come back. Like, I'm not monthly. We'll see. So thank you.